Welcome Magic players of all sorts, welcome deck builders, welcome to the Casual Deck Tech channel. The Sorcery. Probably the least interesting spell in the history of Magic. Now, back in the day, this was completely different. Back in the day, we had sorceries like Time Twister, Time Walk, Demonic Tutor, Balance, Wheel of Fortune, sorceries that were ultra extremely powerful. But now these days, they're a bit less exciting. There is the occasional sweeper, there is the occasional hand disruption spell, but okay, let's be honest, the sorcery is not really the most exciting spell we have at the moment. Luckily, with the arrival of Modern Horizons, Wizards threw us a bone to all us deck builders and said, hey guys, go ahead and build yourself a sorcery deck, because we gave you this card. It's like Collected Company, but for sorceries. A lot of people say it's a lot worse. But is it? And never in the history of Magic did we ever see an all-out sorcery deck that was good nor fun. Well, at least I never saw one. I took a dive in about 2,150 sorceries to look for a deck, and it wasn't easy. Psychic Spear. Target player reveals his or her hand. Choose a spirit or arcane card from it. That player discards that card. And in the end, I came up with this fun casual budget brew, which I hope you guys are going to like. Here is Collected Conjuring, or should we say Collected Sorcery. The idea of this deck is pretty simple. Survive the first 2 or 3 turns and then try to play a Collective Conjuring, which would give you a bunch of rhinos, creating an army of zombies, or even fetching spells from outside of your deck. And yes, you will need a little bit of luck for all of this to work, but as the great Phil Hellmuth once said, if there weren't luck involved, I would win every game. Maybe not all of them. Before I head into the deck tech, I would like to give a shout out to our sponsor Card Market, the place to be if you want to buy singles from all over Europe and even Canada. So definitely check it out. And in the end of the video, there's even a fun little giveaway for all you guys that subscribe to my channel. So make sure to stay until the end. So let's head into the deck tech. Let's start with the land base. We play a lot of basic lands. We play 4 forests, 5 islands and 7 mountains, and this is for the reason that we want to cast our sorceries definitely on turn 3 and 4, so we need a lot of lands that come into play untapped. Also turn 6 is quite important, but I'm going to go into that later. We also play some mana fixing lands. We play 2 Cinder Glades and 2 Yavimaya Coasts. They're also pretty good because they come into play untapped. And we also play 1 Temple of Epiphany because red and blue are the most important colors in the deck. And in the end, we also play 3 Frontier Bivouacs. They are great for fixing our mana. Okay, now it's pretty simple. We did the lands, now the other half of the deck. Sorceries. Besides the lands, we of course need to play sorceries in our deck. And we're going to play a bunch. 36 sorceries to be exact. Or maybe not. Maybe we play 51? Or maybe we even play 2000? Stick around, I might go in a little bit more detail. You might have noticed that I usually play best of one game, so I don't have any sideboards, but this time it will be different. This time I will have a sideboard and I will be even using it in a best of one game. How do you think that's possible? Well, just keep on watching and I will tell you. So the first sorcery I already talked about. It's called Collected Conjuring. This is our favorite new pet card and we're going to hit a lot of sorceries with this one. We play 31 sorceries that cost 3 or less mana, meaning we have about a 95% chance to hit 2 spells, 4% chance to hit 1 spell, and a very tiny percent of chance to whiff. And if we do so, knowing these stats, you have all the right to throw an Italian tirade.
Sono arrivato qua, potevo fare l'ira di Dio ieri. E invece, leggo il giornale, una partita, poi dobbiamo vincere. Che diamo per? Questo è l'aiuto che avevo voluto in un momento. E no, mi dà ancora un contrasto. Ma si regina in mina sta settimana. A questa settimana dobbiamo venire almeno 10.000 spettatori al campo. Perché abbiamo bisogno. Domani è la partita decisiva, raga. Se domani io non dovesse succedere, non sia mai. Me ne devo andare, ma non perché non vado bene. Perché siamo i migliori in questo momento per la regina. Non ce ne sono scienziati.
So of course we need creatures to kill our opponent, or at least try to kill our opponent. And the sorcery we do want to hit with our Collected Conjuring is of course Crashing Footfalls. Getting 2 4/4 tramplers on turn 4 is definitely going to give your opponent a headache. And the fun part is, because it has no mana cost, this means the mana cost is 0, so you can even play it for free with Collected Conjuring. Then there's also a nice spell that's called Invade the City. This one can easily create a 6/6, an 8/8, or even late in the game a 15/15 zombie army. We play 3 of this card. And then of course we need to play a few one-offs. Let's have a look. I play 1 Call of the Herd because who doesn't like elephants? I play 1 Rhonas Last Stand for the big snake, which you can sometimes play on turn 2. And I also play 1 Sprouting Renewal, which is the worst creature sorcery in the deck, but you can also use it as a removal spell for enchantments or artifacts. And then I play 1 6-drop sorcery. Now you can say, hey, you can't play that with Collected Conjuring. Yeah, that's true, but it's such a powerful card in the deck that I wanted to include it. It's called Rise from the Tides, and it will give you a bunch of 2/2 zombie creatures that will be enough to kill your opponent in one sweep. Besides the 4 Collected Conjurings, I also like to play some card draw in the deck. Let's have a look. I play 1 Scour All Possibilities and 1 Faithless Looting. This card is just insanely good. I also play 1 Compulsive Research, and then I play 2 Pieces of the Puzzle and 1 Wheel of Fate. The last one also has converted mana cost 0, so you can also play it, hitting it with a Collected Conjuring. And the interesting thing is that these cards also put cards in your graveyard, which helps your zombie army coming from Invade the City grow a lot bigger. Now of course those first turns will be difficult, so you have to have some removal for some fast decks with a lot of small creatures. Let's have a look. Chain Lightning is probably the best flexible 1-drop burn sorcery out there. Firebolt also does the job well, and an Art Lightning, especially off a Collected Conjuring, often makes a lot of surprise victims. I also play 1 Pyroclasm to disrupt the fast aggro deck and kill some small creatures. So far so good, you might think. That's all nice. Well, I will make it even a little bit nicer for you, because I will add some doubling effects. I will play 3 double casts. This card can be an extra Crashing Footfalls when you hit it with Collected Conjuring, but you can also double your Collected Conjuring on turn 6. Then there's 1 Howl of the Horde, which is basically the same as a double cast. Then of course I also need to play 1 Regrowth. This card is crazy good and it only costs 2 mana, so definitely need to put it in the deck. It could get back a Collected Conjuring, or it could get back a draw spell. It's such a great card. Then there are a few mana sorceries that I play mainly to search for mountains, because red is the color I need the most, so let's have a look. Beneath the Sands is a rampant growth. You can cycle away if you don't need it. The good thing is that it also shuffles your library, and this can be useful when there are some spells on the bottom that you like. And this is mainly due to a Collected Conjuring. Maybe you draw a few Collected Conjurings while playing 1 Collected Conjuring, and then you want to get them back into your deck, of course. So that's why this is handy. Kodama's Reach is of course a powerful ramp spell, which sometimes assures a turn 4 Collected Conjuring. And then there's also Search for Tomorrow, which you can suspend on turn 1 to give you an extra land on turn 3. So I play 2 of this one. You can hit it with Collected Conjuring, but you can also play it just on the first turns. Remember the suspense I was talking about? Well, I'm going to talk now about the sorcery of all sorceries. This card is called Burning Wish, and it will fetch you any sorcery you need from outside of the game. Now, I usually include a sideboard because I don't want to say, hey guys, now I will go and look into my 25 binders I have upstairs, and I will see you back in 10 minutes when I find the right card to have an answer for your play. No, we're not going to do that. Let's try to make a sideboard of about like 10 to 15 cards maybe that you want to search for to get into your hand with a Burning Wish. I play 2 of the Burning Wishes. When you have mana troubles on the first turns, it is very important to be able to ramp into your 3rd or 4th land to be able to play that Collected Conjuring. So if you need blue or an additional red, this card can help you get the mana you need. A lot of your opponents will put pressure on you on the early turns, so that's why a Roast could be very handy to kill a big ground creature. Or if the creature has flying, you can hit it with a Misium Mortars. And Misium Mortars has even an overload mechanic, and this means you can cast the spell for its overload cost, and if you do so, change the text by replacing all instances of target with each. So Misium Mortars also has an overload cost, and that means you can play 3 and 3 red, and then it deals 4 damage to each creature you don't control. So hopefully you can kill their whole board with that. Talking about doing damage to all the creatures, here is Subterranean Tremors. It's an X spell, so it can deal a lot of damage to a lot of creatures without flying. So yes, you will also probably will kill your own creatures when you play it. But it destroys also a lot of artifacts, and if X is 8 or more, you get a big 8/8 lizard, which is always fun, right? Maybe you have more artifact troubles, but you want a quicker solution than Subterranean Tremors. So you can play Shatterstorm. You will destroy all artifacts and they can't be regenerated. Sprouting Renewal is already in the deck, but I decided also to add it in the sideboard as it is such a flexible card. It can kill an enchantment, it can kill an artifact, or it can create a 2/2 green and white elf knight creature token with vigilance that can attack and block at the same time. Maybe you have more enchantment troubles than one enchantment, then I would really advise you to search for Reverent Silence. So if you control a forest, you may have each other player gain 6 life instead of paying Reverent Silence's mana cost. And that means that if you have a forest and you have a Burning Wish, you could even play it on turn 2, turn 3, and it will destroy all enchantments. Really powerful card. Then let's have a look at some more creatures. Maybe you want some flyers. You can play a Tolerance Invocation. This sorcery will create 2/2 blue drake creatures, and maybe you have a double cast so you can make even more drakes in the air. If your opponent doesn't have anything against flying creatures, this is definitely a card you want to search for. And maybe your opponent likes to play control. So that's why I added Call the Skybreaker. It's really a card you don't want to open in a booster pack because it's not really worth anything. It's also very expensive. But later in the game, this can be quite okay actually. It gives you a 5/5 flyer. And with the retrace ability, you can play it all over again. So even when it gets countered, you can discard a land card and you can play it again and again and again. So that's why I included Call the Skybreaker also in this sideboard. Maybe you have a zombie army, a mass token of 2020, but your opponent is playing a lot of like those pesky cats, saprolings or all those small creatures, and they keep on blocking your big zombie. Well, just play a ghost form and then up to 2 target creatures can't be blocked and you can kill your opponent outright with one swoop. Talking about zombies, here is another Rise from the Tides in the sideboard. I really like this card, especially when you want to go wide and you will have a lot of sorceries in your graveyard. Of course, you also want to have a solution for planeswalkers or even a land. If your opponent plays an Elspeth or even a Mace of It, Bramble Crush will deal with it. So a very flexible card that destroys target non-creature permanent. So I really had a long thought about which card draw spell I wanted to put in, and in the end I really like Pieces of the Puzzle because you have so many sorceries in the deck. Having a look at 5 cards of your library and choosing 2 of them is just insanely powerful in this deck. So I also added one in the sideboard. Here's another fun card that your control playing opponent doesn't want to see. It's called Banefire. It burns the face and it can't be countered if X is 5 or more. So pretty cool also to include this, to grab it from outside of the game to kill your opponent in one powerful sweep. And then last but not least, if you have trouble with white, we have an answer. The answer is called Anarchy, and the flavor text says the shaman waved his staff and the land itself went mad. Of course, all white permanents are destroyed when the land goes mad. Insanely powerful card. Maybe you'll get into a fight with your opponent and he will never want to play you again, but that's why you will probably have some other decks ready as well. So Anarchy is my last sideboard card. This was it. This was our sideboard. But one more thing. Yes, all those cards that you cast when you grab them into your hand with Burning Wish, they will go into your graveyard. And when they're in your graveyard, you can get them back out with Regrowth. So that explains why Regrowth is also such a great card in this deck. Okay, this was it. I know it was a long one, but it was important for me to add the sideboard of well for the Burning Wishes. I hope you really enjoyed the deck tech. I also want to thank Tanya, who helped me a little bit with the editing. It also takes a lot of time to make one of those videos, so thanks a lot. And then in the end, of course, there is our sponsor Card Market, who has given me a few vouchers to distribute to all you viewers. So you only need to do one thing. just subscribe to my channel and post a comment so I know where to find you. It can be underneath one of those videos. You can comment if you like the deck. Just leave a comment and I will find you. When we hit our 100 subscribers, I will give away a card market voucher of 10 euros. And to be honest, that's almost enough to buy this whole deck. So, thanks for watching and keep it casual. Bye. Cookie.